Namaskaram. Welcome to students and parents College Connect Program 2020. KAV Consultants వారు విద్యార్థులకు ఉన్నత విద్యా అవకాశాలపైన అవగాహన ఏర్పాటు చేయడం కొరకు ఏర్పాటు చేసినటువంటి కార్యక్రమం కాలేజ్ కనెక్ట్ ప్రోగ్రామ్ 2020. ఈ ప్రోగ్రాంకి తల్లిదండ్రులను విద్యార్థులను సాదరంగా ఆహ్వానిస్తున్నాం. నా పేరు కె వెంకటేష్. ఈరోజు ఈ కాలేజ్ కనెక్ట్లో ప్రోగ్రాంలో భాగంగా కెరీర్ గైడెన్స్ కొరకు చూజ్ చేసుకున్నటువంటి టాపిక్ కెరియర్ ప్రాస్పెక్ట్స్ ఇన్ ఆర్మ్డ్ ఫోర్సెస్ ఆఫ్టర్ 10+2. 10+2 కంప్లీట్ చేసినటువంటి విద్యార్థులకు ఆర్మ్డ్ ఫోర్సెస్లో ఎటువంటి అవకాశాలు ఉన్నాయి అనేటువంటి సమాచారాన్ని మీకు అందించడం కొరకు మనతోని కల్నల్ శ్రీరామ్ గారు జాయిన్ అయ్యారు. Colonel Sriram is an alumni of NDA. He was commissioned into the army in 1984. After having rendered 36 years of selfless services in the army, he retired. During 36 years of service in the army, he held various important assignments of commanding officer of an artillery unit, director army recruiting, group commander of NCC. He led from the front the counter-insurgency operations in J&K and Northeast. So I welcome Colonel Sriram Garu to present the career opportunities to 10+2 students in armed forces. So Colonel Sriram Garu, please carry on.
Good evening to all the students and the parents. Today, as part of various presentations on your career opportunities being organized by KAV Consultants, as you all know, the armed forces consists of tri-services, that is the Army, the Navy and the Air Force. The Army is known as the Land Warriors, the Air Force is known as the Air Warriors, and the Navy is known as the Sea Warriors. All of you are in the critical stage of your careers, and life is all about creating yourself. The 11th and 12th class, by the time you reach 11th and 12th class, you should have already formed an opinion or set a goal for yourself. What do you want to become in life? Those of you who are still in state of a flux, which stream to select, or if they are in dilemma, my father is an engineer, my mother is a doctor, what should I become? It's high time that you form a goal and work towards achievement of your goal. It's not about taking one track. It's about defining the track you would like to take. It's not about following rules. It's about making your own rules. Rules that make you happy. It's your life, your career. So now there's a requirement of you forming your goal and work towards achievement of your goal. Next.
Yes, sir.
What you want to become in life, you should dream, and the dream should be big. In the words of our late President Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, dream is not the thing you see in the sleep, but is the thing that does not let you sleep till the time you achieve it. So the dreams transform into thoughts, and thoughts result into action. So from now on, I'm sure by the time I finish off my lecture and giving about all the plus points on seeking a career in armed forces, I'm sure you will all dream of joining armed forces. The next. Now, coming on to my journey, how I joined armed forces, which has got bearing with today's discussion, I'll just cover very briefly. I joined Sainik School with a primary aim of fulfilling my father's desire. My father wanted that one of the siblings should become a civil services person. I lost my father at a very early age. Then I joined Sainik School with the aim of fulfilling my father's aim. But in Sainik School, as you all know, that Sainik schools are primarily meant for training students to join the armed forces. There, after having spent 8 years in Sainik School, I came under influence. Sainik schools are administered by the principal, headmaster, and registrar, who are all from the service background. So the headmaster used to conduct various lectures on the career in armed forces. He used to tell us what all can be expected in armed forces, the quality of life. So I got influenced by the headmaster's talks, and visualization of what he has told us in his talks was also possible when we visited various establishments in Vishakhapatnam. So one could visualize, and then thereafter, it was my desire that I should stand on my own legs. This was only possible if I joined NDA, because in NDA, you undergo a graduation, you undergo training for the armed forces, all at free of cost. And after passing out from National Defense Academy, one goes to the Indian Military Academy for a specialized training. So in a 4 years time, one would become a class 1 gazetted officer, all at the expenses of the government. This is what I wanted to be. This is what I inspired. Those of you who have attended various career counseling sessions, you must have seen there are certain influences. One is the parental influence, which will be there when you decide about the career. Like a doctor wants his son or a daughter to be a doctor. And even the son, the sibling also would like to become a doctor, seeing the plus points of his father's, parents' profession. Then there is something known as individual aspirations. So it was the individual aspirations which drove me when I was at Sainik School to opt for a career in the armed forces. And for information of all of you, like some of my classmates who studied with me in Sainik School, they wanted to pursue a career either in engineering or in the medicine or any other profession. By that time, I finished my training at IMA and became a class 1 gazetted officer. They were still struggling in their lives, either with their studies or for finding a suitable job. By which time I was already settled and I was leading a very comfortable life. This is what you will get by joining the armed forces after 10+2. Qualifying in UPSC exam at the age of 17, thereafter qualifying in SSB, clearing medicals, and then coming in merit is by no means an easy task. So all of you should have a clear aim, be resolute, and work towards achieving your goal, then nothing is impossible. What I have realized during my training in IMA and NDA, that human body is a very great mission. It will never fail provided you are resolute. The more you tax it, the better result it gives. For example, I'll just give you, I was a non-swimmer when I joined National Defense Academy. If I had to move from the first term to the second term, I had to pass the swimming test, which comprised of 25 meters of breaststroke and 25 meters of freestyle. So just imagine a non-swimmer qualifying this particular requirement is possible only with hard work. So similarly, in physical training, horse riding, and other exercise training activities also. One could qualify with only hard work, determination, perseverance, and for that reason only I say that human body is a very great mission which can achieve anything. So all of you should not be afraid of the tough life which the services one has to undergo. It's possible, you can achieve, you have it in you. So all the training establishments of the armed forces provide excellent infrastructure and facilities, giving you an opportunity to pursue your interests in adventure, sports, shooting, sailing, and all other extracurricular activities at free of cost, which otherwise you cannot afford. In 80s, only engineering and medicine, when I was to decide a career, only engineering and medicine were considered as the best fields to pursue a career. So with about 70 to 75%, one got admission in good engineering or a medical college. Whereas in the present times, with those marks, you will not get admission in a good college even for graduation. So you are living in a very competitive world, and the choice of profession for you has increased manifold. For us, it was only either a medicine or engineering were the choices. And to beat all this, especially in our South India, there are a lot of misconceptions about joining armed forces. It's not considered as an attractive option. Whereas in North India, it's considered as a very attractive option. And with pride, they say that they are from third or fourth generation. And almost from every family, minimum one sibling is in armed forces, serving our motherland. Whereas it's not the case in South India. I'll subsequently cover what are the apprehensions and what are the realities. Like during my time, what used to be thought anyone who went for armed forces was a misfit. It's not the case. And the best, some of my classmates, they joined, and for various medical reasons they had to leave in between. And today some of them are in IAS and IPS. So such like things, it is that armed forces is a very noble profession. It's a very good career option for you. The rank structure in the armed forces, like as I've told you, that the armed forces consists of tri-services, Indian Army, Indian Air Force, and Indian Navy. Till the rank of Lieutenant Colonel and equivalents in other services, the promotions are the time-based. Thereafter, all the promotions are based on the merit. You should realize the armed forces is a political organization, and all there are no reservations in armed forces. Whether you, and while for entering armed forces or during your service in armed forces for promotions, there are nothing like reservations. It's all based on merit. Next, coming on to the apprehensions versus realities. Especially we from South India, we have misconceptions. Like we feel that the training is costly. The training, whether at the National Defense Academy or at the Indian Military Academy, it's all free. So not even a penny is required to be spent by the parents. So, National Defense Academy, you're doing the graduation and the training for armed forces free of cost at the government expense. You're not taxing your parents. Then there is another apprehension that it's a tough life. Yes, it's tough life. That is the case even in the outside world. The tough life equips you to face any challenges in life. The other apprehension is maximum tenures in North and Northeast India. Yes, it's a geographical position which dictates most of our external challenges. They are from North and Northeast portion. All the countries like China, Pakistan, then other countries with whom we have issues, they all fall towards the North and Northeast. That's why uh, armed forces concentration is more towards North. But now, in the modern times, the distances do not make matter. Like during 80s, 90s, commuting from northeast to southern portion, it used to take 3 to 4 days. Whereas with improved communication facilities, in the same day, you're there. If you're required to reach home, in the same day from the northeast or the northernmost portion, you can reach your home. And so the modern communication means there were no mobiles earlier, but now with all the communication means, you are in regular touch with your family and nothing to worry about. The other apprehension is only child, it's insecure. No, the only child will not stay put at home and keep working from home. He has to get out. When he gets out, anything can happen. The same in the armed forces also. It's the most safe, secure, and protected environment we enjoy. Coming on to the other thing is the less salary, that is what is an apprehension, whereas the corporates pay much more. Whereas after 7th Pay Commission, I'll cover it later also, the armed forces, the people, everyone is paid, it's well paid profession. It's one of the only profession where after the retirement you get pension. Whereas in corporate world, that's not there. So they are being suitably uh, uh, given in lieu during their service period. Frequent transfers, it's an opportunity. Frequent transfers, once in 3 or 4 years it will be there. You get a chance to meet new places and new persons and to see the new places. Because you keep growing in rank, so the nature of duty undergoes a change. When the nature of duty undergoes a change, then there is a requirement of you going to different places, serving in different types of terrains. That's all required. So it's you'll get an opportunity to see the new places. Then there is another apprehension which says low professional growth. That's also a total misconception. As I've told you, the promotions are based on merit and professional growth is there, wherein you have to constantly update with the technology because the, the complete war, the fighting, the various communication means or the tactics, they're all undergoing change day by day. Next. Coming on to the pay and allowances, like I was telling you, it's adequately paid. The basic pay, the starting pay of a lieutenant is 56,000. And then there is something known as a military service pay, that is 15,500. And transport allowance, and then DA, city compensatory allowance, HRA, those other things in which I have not given any figures is depends upon which area you are serving, which wing you are serving, then you will get the additional emoluments. With that, next. See the emoluments. After implementation of 7th Pay Commission, then mundu then. Srinivas garu then mundu slide indaka chupistunnanu.
Yes, sir.
Yes, the armed forces deen tarvate. Next.
Okay.
The pay packet of the armed forces officers and personnel has been increased substantially, and it almost matches the corporate salaries. When you're training itself, you get a stipend. In the last year of training at IMA, you receive a stipend of 56,100 rupees per month. On commissioning, like earlier in the earlier slide, I shown you what a lieutenant starting salary, he takes home around 92,000 rupees as his salary. You can imagine. Yesterday, I heard one of the lectures in which the speaker was saying that the starting salary after a graduation or a post-graduation is in the range of 30 to 40,000. Imagine, see out here, the starting salary of a lieutenant is to the tune of 92,000 rupees. So you're well paid. And within 13 years of service, officers are placed in the pay band 12, which is the highest salary slab for a central government. Next. Besides these emoluments, there are other service benefits. For the serving personals, they are entitled free rations and the free medical treatment for their self and dependents. Then the canteen facilities. Then the leave, the best part is the leave. See, 60 days of annual leave and 20 days of casual leave in every year. This is all paid leave. Then there is a provision for a furlough leave up to 1 month after every cycle of 2 years. You can encash this leave up to 300 days, and at the time of retirement, you get money in lieu of whatever encashment you have done. And you can further your educational qualifications by undergoing study leave, wherein you are pursuing your education but with full pay and allowances. That's also possible. That's also the provision which the armed forces gives. Then for commuting, whenever you go on leave for commuting, you are given a railway warrant from the home station or the selected place of residence to, it's applicable for both the self and dependents, from the place where you're working to the place where your home is, home station is. Then other privileges include like house. You've seen all the cantonments. Even in Secunderabad, you can see the cantonment area where the armed forces personnel stay. They have their accommodation, which is fully furnished accommodation is given. And whenever earlier we discussed about frequent transfers, whenever transfers take place, complete for the conveyance of the baggage, it's taken care of. The life insurance cover is to the tune of 75 lakhs for officers and 40 lakhs for the personnel below officer rank. Then like loans and all from Army Group Insurance Fund, the loans are also given for house building, transport, computers, for buying computers. Next. So we'll carry out a comparison between the armed forces and the corporate. We have seen the armed forces, the pay is good. There in corporate world, it's an excellent pay. That is what the misnomer is. I told you that if you take the emoluments and other service benefits which I have told you, the it will work out at par with the corporate sector. Include all the canteen facilities, the other free rations and such, like all other benefits which are service benefits which are given. If you include all those, it almost commensurates with what a corporate, the person in the corporate sector gets. In armed forces, the expenses are minimal, whereas in corporate world, the expenses are exorbitant. We all know you're living in cantonment areas where the housing and all is is given at a minimal rent, with it's fully furnished. Whereas for the same thing, this a person who is working in a corporate sector has to pay more. High status, I've told you that it's after commissioning, you're treated as a class 1 gazetted officer. All armed forces officers, whereas in a corporate world, it's a paid status. Life is active in armed forces, where it's all in corporate world, it's all desk oriented. About coming out of the job security, jobs, there is a job security in armed forces, whereas there is no job security in the corporate world. Any day you have seen in this COVID times what's happening. There's so many layoffs and so many personnel losing jobs. Whereas in armed force, that is not the case. There is a job security. And I've told you that we can enhance qualifications, whereas in a corporate world, the learning is stagnation. The, for every rank we get promoted, there are courses, because for undertaking that particular role, one has to update his knowledge and his tactical knowledge, as well as the other aspects also. So it's enhancing qualifications is possible in armed forces, whereas in the corporate world, there is a stagnation. The quality of life is better in armed forces, whereas in the corporate world, the standard of life, it all depends upon how much money one spends. The life in the armed forces, it's all full of action, professional growth. These things I will be covering it: adventure, travel, lifestyle, families, status, and achievers. The next, each one of it, we will see it. Life is full in armed forces, full of action. Be in active operations or in peacetime. We've seen regarding operations, we've already had 4 major wars, and including Kargil, it will be 5. So the operational activities are, that is the reason why our northern and northeastern, the borders, always there is an action. So the concentration of the armed forces is much towards the north and northeast. The counter-terrorism operations in J&K and Northeast. Every day in newspapers, you'll be reading about that. So those operations are also, they are going on almost daily, and might be called for special operations, and we have certain peacekeeping operations, missions abroad, wherein our government sends the armed forces for various UN peacekeeping operations. Like then comes the peacetime duties, like anytime during the natural calamities, when the situation then mundudanti. Whenever the situation goes out of the control, it's the army, armed forces. Next. Srinivas next. It's the armed forces which are called immediate, then mundudanti. armed forces are called. Next.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. For environmental protection activities, socially benefiting activities, for all these, the peacetime activities also, army armed forces get involved in the peacetime activities also. Next.
Yes, sir.
And as I was telling you earlier, the growth of an officer does not stop with his commissioning. Rather, the process of acquiring new skills and competence just starts. Like we have professional courses at each level. Then there are technical courses after doing BTech. They go to various colleges and improve their technical qualifications by doing MTech and such like thing. Management courses are also there. Language courses, because of requirements on the northern and northeast borders, we do have language courses, and foreign language courses are also there. And I've already covered the aspect of studying. So the professional growth is continuous, it's there, and we keep updating with latest happenings, latest technologies on a continuous basis. Next. ఇప్పుడు అంటే అది మూవీ.
Next slide తర్వాత ఇంకో 2 slides.
Okay. Okay. And life in the army, armed forces is full of adventure. Like number of these adventure activities, which if you are not in the armed forces, you would have to pay for undertaking any of these things. Whereas staying in armed forces under expert guidance, you will be able to undertake all those adventure activities of mountaineering, car and motorcycle rallies, white river rafting, then scuba diving, hot air ballooning, aerosports, water sports. All these activities, adventure activities, you can undertake free of cost. Whereas if the same activities you want to undertake outside, you have to pay. Then only you will be able to undertake these adventure activities. Next. As we have already seen that it involves a travel. After every 2-3 years, we move on transfers, so we get a chance to see the complete the country, and second, there are number of UN peacekeeping missions wherein the officers and men are sent in various foreign countries under the UN umbrella, and we have the military attaches, defense attaches, almost all the countries wherein selected the officers, they do get a chance to go there. There are countries, there are courses which are joint training is carried out, wherein you go abroad, and similarly the officers from the friendly foreign countries, they come and do the courses out here, and we do number of training activities in conjunction with the friendly foreign countries also. So one travels widely around the world, the selected lot, of course.
Professor, can we take few questions from the participants?
Yes,
Would
yes.
enable them to, interaction would be appreciable. Yeah.
దీని తర్వాత తీసుకుందామండి.
play.
We'll take it after this. Venkatesh garu.
Hello.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Venkatesh garu.
Yeah. So, good evening, students and parents. Very happy to see the career, the lucrative career and happy and enjoyment life that Colonel Sriram sir has already enjoyed, and advising you to enter into that area, the armed forces like Army, Navy, and Air Force. So, anything that you want to have some clarifications from our guest today, you can text the message in the chat, or you can raise your hand, or request for unmute the mic or the video so that you can interact with our expert today. And please let us know. Yeah, please. So we request you to send your queries in chat in the text format, or raise your hand, or you can also request for unmute your mic or video. You can interact with our guest today directly regarding the prospects, career prospects in the armed forces. If you have any queries, or we will continue. Yeah, Mr. Mani is trying to ask a question. Mr. Mani, would you like to take a call? Mr. Mani. Okay. Yes, Sriram sir, I'll take this opportunity on behalf of the participants. See,
Okay.
you have explained a very beautiful life picture in front of us. But why the stigma among the parents or the young students, young generation students, not to prefer or look at that career? Where, what are the reasons why people are not looking at very lucratively these armed forces careers?
The main reason, as I've told you, it's all the apprehensions
Correct.
or the misconceptions.
Yes, sir.
They treat that life in the armed forces is tough.
Sir.
So everyone wants an easy life, and they want to avoid the tough life. So so that is the first reason, and they find that it's not lucrative and it's not paying. I've already covered earlier with the misconceptions. Is one is that the training, it costs a hell of a lot for them, whereas the complete training is at free of cost. Then coming on to the other apprehension is that life is tough. The life is tough, yes, but it prepares you for facing various challenges, difficult challenges in life. So it's making you to face those particular challenges. Then coming on to the other aspect, that it's not paying. It's incorrect. After 7th Pay Commission, the armed forces, whoever is opting for a career in armed forces, they are paid well. And
Major General Daska sir has also joined. We are very lucky.
Okay.
Sir, can you please, Srinivas, can you please unmute sir mic?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Major General Daska sir. Sir, can you please, Major General Daska sir? Yeah, Daska sir. Thanks for
good evening to all of you.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. It's very nice to see what Colonel Sriram has been covering now with the parents and students.
Yes,
now
sir.
the question is, why is this apprehension, fear, scare among the students and the parents?
Sir,
I
is
think
it
first
among
and
students or the parents, sir?
Yeah, in fact, it is. Please see,
Sir.
if you take the India, two parts. One is north versus south.
Sir.
Second is the rural and urban.
Sir.
In the North India, since independence, all the wars have actually been fought over the land.
Sir.
So the people of North residing in the border states know the importance of the army, and that's why they have got a glamour.
Sir.
They have got a preference for the army.
Sir.
And if you see the North and South divide, again in South people are more service oriented.
Sir.
But one thing is, unfortunately, what happens is a parent will say that that we are very happy, we feel very proud that our neighbor son is working in the armed forces. But he
Correct.
will not talk about his own, but he will not send his own son to the armed forces.
Sir.
That is a very pitiable situation, number one.
Sir.
Number two is today life is actually very safe, secure, wherever it is, and it is also equally risky whether it is in army or even whether it is outside.
Sir.
So parents need not feel worried that my single child is there in the family, my only son, therefore should I send him or not? Why not? Why don't you send?
Sir.
Because it is the first and foremost pleasure, privilege, honor and respect what any citizen gets by serving in the armed forces which are in the direct defense of the country.
Sir.
So to that extent, like what Sriram said, now the country is well connected, mobility is there, mobile connection is there. So one need not feel that the child is far away. We are all living in a global village.
Sir.
Nowadays, nobody is measuring the distances in kilometers or miles. You are actually measuring distances in terms of time. How far is Delhi from Hyderabad? 2 hours. That's all.
Sir. Good, sir.
So therefore, my advice to parents is whatever you could not do in your life.
Sir.
Probably some of you wanted to join the Army, Navy, Air Force, and your parents did not allow you that time. Please encourage, motivate your children to join, and you will be doing great service to the nation through your son or to your daughter. That is my suggestion and recommendation to the people. Life is extremely good, extremely professional. One service where 100% of everything is by merit.
Sir.
You don't need any pull, you don't need any push.
Sir.
If you have got merit, the organization takes care of you.
Sir.
That is what I would like to say. And the organization sends you a number of courses. Like in the army, I served for 35 years in the army.
Sir.
The army has sent me for more than 5 years for training.
Sir.
It sent me for MTech. It has sent me for Master of Management Studies.
Sir.
It has sent me for MSc Defense Studies. It has sent me for MPhil Defense Studies.
Sir.
So people need not worry on that count.
Yeah.
And I'm sure today's youth, they prefer challenges, they prefer professionalism, they prefer adventure.
Sir.
This is the best thing for you.
Thank
Like what Sriram has said, after 12th, join NDA or join the 10+2 technical entry scheme, what is available in Secunderabad and Pune and more.
Sir.
So my recommendation is that take a decision and plunge into the armed forces. That's what I would like to say.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah. Participants have any questions, any query to Professor Major General Daska or our Kallan Sriram guest today? Kindly send the text message in chat box or raise your hand, or you can request for unmuting the mic or the video so that you can directly interact with our expert today. So the questions are related to the career prospects and the qualities required and opportunities that you have it in the armed forces. Any query related to this career opportunities in armed forces is most welcome. Kindly raise your hand or send your this thing. Okay. So before we get a question, then we will take chance. Sir, what are the qualities required to qualify in this NDA exam? Or the entry into the armed forces? What qualities are required for an individual?
Basically,
Sir.
the basic intelligence,
Sir.
all of them have after 11th and 12th classes, they have already acquired the basic intelligence which is required.
Sir.
Then the other is the mental and physical toughness.
Sir.
Because the one, while preparing for the examination,
Sir.
and second, when they are facing the service selection board,
Sir.
the both are seen, and because they are tested for that, because, as they have to undergo a very tough life later on if they get selected. So they have to be mentally and physically tough.
Sir.
The other thing is communication skills.
Sir.
They're good at communication skills.
Sir.
Speaking in English.
Sir.
They should speak in English. Then they should be aware of general awareness, what's happening around. They should be aware of that. Then
Sir.
they should have the quality of keenness to learn. Everything they should see, they should look from an angle of why, how, where, when, such like things they should have, that keenness they should have, so that they take interest. Because nowadays the way the warfare has progressed, it's very scientific, and one has to be continuously a keen learner to learn about the warfare. Then other aspects of adventurism, then the optimism, then the ambition, or a person who is aspiring should have all these qualities to get through uh, uh, in service selection board.
Sir.
So these are certain qualities which are required.
Yes, sir. So if you look at the qualities and any physical and personal traits.
Basically, when it comes to the physical activities,
Sir.
one has to be regularly doing the physical exercises, which
Sir.
in all school curriculum also,
Sir.
the normal, he has to be physically fit.
Sir.
Because during the SSB, they are tested even in the physical aspect.
Sir.
And then subsequently, when you're joining the armed forces, one has to be physically fit. Then only he'll be, and also medically fit to join the armed forces. To be
Okay.
medically fit, one has to be physically active,
Sir.
and that's how you will be physically fit.
Sir.
And about the mental abilities and all, there are various the forums where he can update his knowledge.
Sir.
The solving the previous question papers,
Yeah.
and going through the syllabus. It's all objective type.
Hmm.
The test, the NDA examination is totally based on an objective test. The syllabus is of class 12 standard. So they have to be thorough with the general the subjects of physics, chemistry, mathematics, and the general knowledge and English. These are the test subjects which I'll cover when I discuss about the NDA exam. I'll cover in that. So they have to be thorough with these subjects.
Yeah. Sir, okay. Yeah, Major General Daska sir wants to leave here because he is meeting. Thank you very much, Professor General Daska Garu. Thanks for attending this webinar. We request you to join once again and bless our participants later on. Thank you very much, sir. Sir, Colonel Sridham, sir.
Yes.
So when do they have to start preparation, sir?
So regarding the physical activities, there are regularly the physical activity periods are there in the school, so they don't have to make any special preparations for that.
Sir.
So if they should be, whenever the physical activities are conducted in school, physical training, and also when every evening they do participate in games and all, so they have to be physically active. If they are physically active, then they can qualify the tests which are concerned with the physical activity. And regarding the written examination, class 11th onwards, they should start focusing on the syllabus, and they should be thorough. 11th and 12th is the syllabus for which they are tested. So they should be thorough from class 11 onwards. They should be at it, and once they are at it, they can qualify in the test, written exam.
See, to take this exam after 12th, when do they have to start preparation and practice? Because normally when you see civil services, assume. So students have some fair idea, they start thinking, talking, preparing, planning from first year of their degree program.
So
And
this
like
preparation
that, to get selected in this NDA examination,
from class 11 onwards, one has to start the preparation.
11 onwards.
Yes,
11
one has to
prepare.
start preparation.
Okay, so 2 years preparation is definitely required.
Required. 2 years preparation is required. And subsequently, I'll request you should conduct a capsule even on the SSB also. So
Yes,
they get an exposure
Sir.
on the service selection board, what they have to face there.
Sir, now by chance, if they didn't select in NDA. NDA is the entrance examination, admission in, to get admission into the armed forces.
Armed forces.
So you have got different categories there, maybe
Yes.
Air Force, Defense, and
Like
when do they will be segregated for Air Force, Army, and Defense? I mean, Navy.
see, for NDA, whenever you appear in exam, there is an UPSC examination
Yes, sir.
conducted twice every year.
Sir.
So in the application itself, you give your choice.
Oh,
And then thereafter, you are accordingly medically tested, because a person who has to go to Air Force has got a different medical standards. A person who has to go to Navy has got a different medical standards, and a person who has to be there in Army has got a different
Yes.
medical standards.
yes, sir.
So in the application form, the option is given.
So they have to give their
So-
preferences 1, 2, 3.
Yes, 1, 2, 3 they have to give for that.
Okay.
And then thereafter in medical, they have to meet the medical requirements. Then there are vacancies, like Army has got a higher vacancies. Out of 300 vacancies in NDA, 195 vacancies are meant for Army. 66 vacancies are meant for Air Force. And 39 vacancies are meant for Navy.
Okay.
So it is, and they have to be in merit. You might opt for Navy, but if it's not there in the merit, then you will not make it for that particular.
Okay.
So, but it is such that except for the Air Force, which has got a different test, they have a test known as PABT test for a pilot aptitude test. Whereas for the Navy and for the Army, if he qualifies for in the medical, for the Navy, he's there for the Army also. So if he's not meeting, he's not there in the merit for the Navy, he can be counted, he can be there in the merit for the Army.
Okay. So do we have this women reservation there also, or is it no gender difference?
For National Defense Academy, the entry as of now, it's only for the men.
Men.
It's not for the
No woman is
women.
allowed.
As of now, the woman entry is only possible at the graduation and post-graduation stages.
Okay.
After 10+2,
Yeah.
there are only 2 entries which are there.
Okay.
One is National Defense Academy,
Hmm.
and other is Technical Entry Scheme, which is there like in Army and in Navy. These it is there. In
Yeah.
Air Force, it is not there.
So,
So in Army, for the we have technical arms like engineers, EME, signals. For such branches, we have the technical entry schemes. Whereas for and also similar thing is there, cadet training, Indian Naval Academy, it is there. Entry is there at 10+2. Whereas in Air Force,
what is the training period, sir? How much time do train the students?
it is the training period is of 4 years.
Okay.
Is first year, if you're in NDA, it is 3 years training wherein you do graduation and a training specific to the term for which you got selected. Then after 3 years, we go for specialized training to the academies. Like Army people, they go to Indian Military Academy, Dehradun. Air Force people, they go to Air Force Academy. And the naval people, they go to the Naval Academy.
So then after that, will they call as officers, or what is the
After-
designation they get?
After 4 years, that after the 3 years training, during NDA training, you're known as cadet. In IMA training, you're known as gentleman cadet. After you pass out from IMA, you are a full-fledged commissioned officer.
Officer,
It's a commissioned officer.
commissioned officer. Okay,
Yes.
that's great. Okay, so
And
generally,
interestingly,
see,
the
this
letter-
nursing and all, there's a lot of there's a lot of opportunities are there for nursing candidates, it seems. How do they have to enter into armed forces nursing?
nursing is it's is considered like now it's not part of the National Defense Academy or the entry is neither at the other technical entry scheme, it is not there. It is only if someone wants to there, it will be in the entry personal below officer rank.
Okay.
It's personal below officer rank. There are certain entries. In that, the nursing entry is possible.
Okay. Thank you.
And for the women, it is a special military nursing service is there. That is altogether a different.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. So, Srinivas garu, can you please present that slide? Thank you, Colonel Sriram garu. It's an opportunity that you have given us and our visitors, students and parents, that you have explained very nicely about the career opportunities that the 10+2 students have it in armed and armed forces, Navy, Army and Air Force, this thing. So let us hope some of the young, dynamic and bright students will prefer and opt for the services. And students, if you have any queries, any suggestions, guidance is required regarding the armed forces, you can contact us or Colonel Sriram garu through us, and we will publish all the details. You can see our contact details, our email ID is info@capconsultants.com and the website is www.capconsultants.com. You can send SMS or WhatsApp message to 92463777055 in case you have any queries even other than this armed forces also. You can talk to us. We will give you clarifications to all your queries. So it's a program every day we are organizing between 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. And a career awareness program, and it is free. I request you to communicate to your friends and their friends to join and get the advantage of the expert lectures from the professionals in the field. Thank you very much. Wish you all the best. Good night for the day. We'll meet once again tomorrow at 7 p.m. Thank you.